My funeral. Today is the day of my funeral. With a small backpack slung over my shoulder, I walked slowly toward the hollow structure. Behind me, my beloved wife, children, and grandchildren followed, weeping. Though I have lived a full century on this earth, I am not yet ready for my funeral. My footsteps grew heavy. Then, in the distance, I saw the great coffin prepared for me. A sudden wave of nausea washed over me. The coffin stood over 6 feet tall, positioned vertically. Its surface was coated in dark polymer paint. Near the entrance stood a monk and 2 officials, their faces wearing practiced expressions of sorrow. I did not trust those faces. In their minds, they were surely thinking, another soul gone from the world today. Good riddance. Had I not felt the same at countless funerals in my lifetime? At 90, I had still clung to the faint hope that human lifespan might be extended to 110. But in the end, as with all political promises, those hopes had drifted away like leaves on a stream. Over the past year, I could no longer focus on life extension, only on the day of my funeral. The demands of coffin preparations, the paperwork, the bureaucratic appointments, my final year had been exhausting. At least today, I would finally rest. Some people choose their preferred planets and request that their coffins be launched toward them. But no one truly knows if those wishes are honored. From what I understand, Mars and other nearby planets are already overcrowded with the departed, leaving no room for new selections. As for planets in other star systems, they are too distant, and there's no guarantee of arrival. The universe, after all, does not follow a straight line. Even a laborer like me understands that. Mr. Mark Stevens. The official's voice snapped me out of my thoughts. We had reached the coffin. Yes. I am Mark Stevens. The monk, draped in robes, stepped forward and muttered incantations while sprinkling holy water on my forehead. Mr. Mark Stevens, you have 5 minutes to say goodbye to your family. I turned and bid them a hollow farewell. But my mind was not with them. The coffin loomed over me, menacing. If I could, I would refuse to enter. But I had no choice. Refusal would mean being sent to the eternal prison, where inmates are stacked like loaves of bread. Once inside, escape is impossible. The government cannot afford proper funerals for prisoners. Rumor has it that a bill has even been proposed to grind them into fuel. What happens to their souls then? Do they merge into some collective consciousness? Whatever the case, would not go there. Compared to that, the vastness of space seemed a mercy. Once I stepped inside, the coffin door slammed shut with a metallic clang. Small bulbs illuminated the interior, thankfully. I sat on the prepared seat and fastened the belt. Soon, the entire structure trembled. My coffin, now a tiny satellite, was hurtling into space. I had read about funeral procedures, so I knew what to expect. Minutes later, the shaking stopped. My coffin had entered the void. I peered through the small window. Earth glowed faintly in the distance, while the rest of the universe stretched endlessly into darkness. Some say that once in space, people step out of their coffins and drift away. If I did, my body would freeze instantly. But within seconds, my DNA would adapt, altering my physiology to survive in the vacuum. My frozen flesh would thaw, and I would become an eternal wanderer of the cosmos. But I would never abandon my coffin. There was a reason. Though our DNA allows us to survive in any environment, one thing remains uncertain: black holes. Unlike others, I had not requested a specific planet. Instead, I had asked for a system to detect black holes. If one lay directly in my path, I would have to kick off from the coffin to alter my trajectory. That was why I still needed it. An hour passed. Boredom crept in, then fear. Only an hour had gone by. How much longer would I be trapped here? I opened my backpack. Inside were a few books. I flipped through one of Shakespeare's plays, the scene where Romeo and Juliet die. On the day of my funeral, I found myself longing fiercely for death.